Everyone. Welcome back to our YouTube Finish Line TC Services. I'm here with my partner Jay, and we have a very special guest. So we did want to have an episode where we have people in the community or investors that want to share a story time. It's a perfect moment for us to speak to our good friend Suzanne Sharkey. She is part of the Subto community, and she's currently backstage. We're going to bring her on.
Hi.
Hi, Suzanne. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So, Suzanne, we know you, but could you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Suzanne Sharkey. I brand myself as from Rhode Island, but I'm currently in Massachusetts flipping out here. I've been a leader of Subto New England for the last 3 years. And then last year, at the end of November, I transitioned or gave ownership of everything I built to the next generation of leadership. And then Jen and I currently synced up because I'm doing more and more bigger and bigger, more expensive, more higher ARV flips up here in Massachusetts. And somebody like myself who should know better, do better, am still a veteran making some mistakes. And so she wanted me to jump on today and talk about what some of those things are, because 3 years later, and even a person like myself who considers myself, fourth generation real estate, I'm still making oopsie poopsies that I should not be making. And if I had really clean paperwork, I would not be here. So we're talking about it because this is how we get better, is recognizing the mistakes that I made, figuring out how to not make them, and then going forward and hopefully making new mistakes and not repeating this one. So that's why I'm here today.
Awesome. Thank you. Before we get into it, I just want to say one of the things that Suzanne and I really bond on is like pho and Vietnamese stuff. Like I'm always sending her, really cool things. And she taught me a new word. It's emo. Am I saying it right?
Emo.
Emo.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
that means auntie. And I thought she was messing with me, and it's true.
No, I don't have time to mess with somebody. I think if I mess with you, most people should know. But yeah, Jen was like, she's like, you're setting me up for failure. And I was like, I would never, woman. I would never mess with something like that. The same way that Jen would never mess around with paperwork. So when it comes to doing what we need to be doing, let's do that. And then when it comes to playtime, we also play hard. So yes. Yeah.
Exactly. So I wanted to bring Suzanne on because I follow Suzanne on social media and I saw that she was going through a situation, and I want her to share with us because I think it's a very perfect moment, a learning moment for everyone. And I just want everyone to know it is okay to make mistakes. At some point, we all make them. No one is perfect. I myself, as a transaction coordinator, have made my mistakes. But the key thing here is to learn from them. So I want Suzanne to talk about her story very briefly. And
talk about one more time, Jen. So you said you wanted me to talk about a situation that is unfolding on Instagram, right? Yeah. So one more time. My hearing is so bad. I apologize.
That's okay. I said that's that drama for your mama.
Girl, yes. I send emails to my attorneys all the time where I'm like, I'm so sorry for my drama, because it's embarrassing at this point. Like, I have great relationships with my attorneys. They know who I am, and they got to call me and say, what did you do? Why did you do this? Like, you shouldn't be here. Anyway, so on Instagram, I did a project probably last August 2023 that I called Squad 100. And so what I wanted to do is, a lot of people I know when I first started didn't know what I was doing with the flip. And so I wanted to do something super transparent. I wanted everyone to learn, everybody to see the good stuff and the bad stuff, and to celebrate and essentially have like a group project. And so that's what we did. And so it's so funny too that this group project, the reason why it started is because I saw somebody go through what I'm literally going through right now, which is you get into a JV relationship with somebody that you know well, and your paperwork is not right because you know them well, you trust them well, you would never imagine them to do something like this. And we're both super busy people. So when I think back as to why I didn't do what I was supposed to do, there's always a reason why not to do something. I'm busy, you're busy, you handle it, I trust you, it's okay. Like, just we'll fix it. We'll fix it as we get there. And unfortunately, I'm in a position now that when I fix it, the fixing is going to take so much more work than had I just done it right from the beginning. So that's where I'm in right now. But the overall situation is I had a best friend of 3 years that I know very closely, very well, that I swear to you would never do something like this, is literally doing this. And tomorrow is the closing day. So we'll see what happens with that. But I am sharing my story on Instagram and talking about how to never be in my situation, which is to not have paperwork, because proving verbal contracts and any person who, what's the word when it called breaches, when you breach a verbal contract is very hard to do. It's a lot easier to do it when you have some sort of written record somewhere of it. And a contract is a very clear-cut way to have that written record. So trying to be better with our paperwork over here. Is Jen loading or is it me?
Yeah, I think that was me.
Okay.
I think I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, could you really quick, just for people that may not know what JV agreements are?
Yeah. So JV agreements are essentially an agreement that does exactly what it says. It joins you to another person, or persons, depending on how many you have in the deal. And what you usually do JV agreements for is to break down who's putting in what they're getting in their return, and all of your what ifs. So we put in things like, what if they quit communicating? What if they're not sending me details I need? What if they're not doing their responsibilities? And you can even put in what those responsibilities are. Your JV agreement can be 1 page and it can be 1,000 pages. It just depends on how detailed you want to be. And it's the document that you can govern everything from. And so when you're doing things like a PML deal where you're borrowing money from people, we like to have it added to the note as an exhibit so that it's clear that it's in the security document that is referred to by the security metric, which is the deed of trust or the mortgage statement. So we like to add that in there as an exhibit, but it's really just your rules and your details. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't put details in there. They just trust the blanket. Oh, we have a JV. I know what my profit's going to be. And they run into an issue where, well, the person quits communicating. What happens? And it ends up needing legal. Whereas in there, it states if you're not communicating and it's proven, there's no legal. You're just out. Like, you can write that in the JV agreement. Yeah. So, and again, preference that with, I'm not a lawyer or anything like that. It's just what I've seen. So I'm not giving legal advice, but it's what I've seen and what I've seen happen. So,
yeah,
I wish I talked to you way before any of this happened. That's literally like my biggest, so annoying. And I knew this before because I've had this conversation with people, which is you need to have hard conversations. And time again, I find people running away from hard conversations, which means they start to ghost people. Had I had a clause that said, biatch, you are out if like I don't hear from you within 5 days, girl, I wish I'm clicking my heels 3 times. Take me back in time to when I knew Jay. I met Jay at community camp. And again, why am I here? Because I made a oopsie poopsie that again, and I'm happy that I'm making it. I'm happy that it hurts so bad because I never want to be here again. So I should have known better. I should have done better. Ugh.
Yeah, and it's like we hear Pace say all the time, like he says, he wouldn't trust his grandma to give her money. And it's hard when you're talking about friends, especially when you've known them so long. And so like I'm doing some work, I'm doing some deals with like my brother, right? But we have an operating agreement. We have a JV agreement. We have all of that says this is what happens if X happens. And of course, he doesn't understand because he's not in our world. He's like, dude, I would never think you would do that. I was like, it's not about what you think or what I think. It's just there. So it's kind of like a prenup, right? Like, you know, just in case, because you never know what could happen in somebody's life. So it's it's sad and scary. I hate that you're going through it, but like you said, it's a great education, and you're getting a chance to tell everybody. And so you're really being able to, you're providing that, you're taking your sorrow and providing value to the community, and it's awesome. A lot of people wouldn't do that. I appreciate that you came on and want to talk about it, because a lot of people would bottle up. Like, I'm not doing this.
It's really cathartic. I read something the other day that said something against this, where they were like, people struggle behind closed doors. And especially when you're at a certain level, you don't know about it because their lawyers are dealing with it. And so if I am putting my stuff out there, I was like, oh my God, am I not at a high enough level that I'm taking it to the streets and I'm going to tell everybody about it? But I will tell you this, like, the way that we learn, so there's two ways to learn. One, you can learn or think you know by textbook, right? But then there's a different kind of knowing when you do it with experience. And I'm telling you, you learn your lessons best when you get your ASS handed to you. And I am getting it. I get my full rump on a full serving platter right now, and it hurts, but we're learning good things. I had no idea that you could even put in that clause in it, but like, why we didn't do this back in the day, there were so many reasons, right? He would never do it. It costs a little bit of money. Let's skip that part. If I don't even know how much it costs, if it cost me $1,000 to have that JV agreement, the money, the heartache, the nonsense, the embarrassment that I would save, please. It's insane. I want your JV contract, period.
And I mean, JV contracts can be modified to whatever you want to put in there. Really. And they said, we see this a lot where like people are more concerned about their profit, how much I'm going to make, how much you're going to make, and that's it. So guys, learning moment right here. Just because you're someone's friend or because they're a family member, do not skip out on outlining the key components of these things. Have those hard conversations. What happens if outline that? Because it's going to save you issues down the line. Business is business, family and friends, it's something different, so make sure you keep those separate and make a division between the emotional part of it. Like, hey, I really love you, and we've been friends for so many years. Because in this situation, Suzanne, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have been friends for many, many years, right?
So 3 years, my best friends, I talked to him like 10 times. I sent him probably like 20 stupid memes a day. And like, we check in with each other. So everything is by text. And yeah, 3 years, all that communication. We literally did this same thing where it happened to another friend of ours. Both of them are leaders in our real estate group, and a leader abusing another leader was a thing that I didn't feel comfortable telling somebody else's story. I'm happy to tell you my story because now it's happening to me. But yeah, like, we went through it. Everybody judged them. It was a unanimous decision by 13 of our leaders in Subto, New England, that said, this is foul. We don't do this here. We don't treat our family like this here. And literally same thing is happening. And so now I'm going to put that light on it. Yeah.
No, and we appreciate you for, telling your story. Now, I'm just curious. So you said closing is tomorrow. So how's that playing out? Are you going to close? Is he going to close? Or what's the deal?
So what's happening now is I had a verbal on it before Christmas. And then we went back and forth, I think, for like 2 weeks. Right after Christmas, we got a signature. And this is the problem. I put my friend's name on my contract because I wanted him to go out and get the money. I am learning in retrospect, and correct me if I'm wrong, that I'm supposed to have my name always on my SHIT, which I will do. Scout's honor. I'm not a scout, but I will do that. And then from there, have a JV agreement saying he is supposed to raise the money. Therefore, when he goes out to a lender, he can say, I'm raising money for this specific contract, and here's my attachment to it. Now give me money. And so what I did, because we were busy and I trusted him, I thought, let me just skip the line. Let me just put his name on it. That's a good way for me to show him, because if I had put my name on the contract but didn't give him a JV contract, then he could go raise the money and I could go run away with that money and not pay him nothing. So that's why I was like, well, let me put my skin in the game. Let me put his name on the contract. Let me give him that power so that he knows I trust you. I would never pull the rug out from underneath you and then send him on his way. So we were even that closing was pushed out until, because of the holidays, until the 1st of February. So 1st of February, we were supposed to close. And I think like 2-3 weeks before February, he made a comment, which was, I'm not ready with the money. To which I was like, no, you did not just say that to me. let's figure this out. What's up? And then from there, a week later or the next day, he ghosted me completely. So we were supposed to close on the 1st. That didn't happen. I couldn't close because he wouldn't release the contract back over to me. And he didn't close because he wasn't ready with the money. But because his name was on the paperwork, they said, let's push this out. Let's give him until the 16th to close, or 16th or something like that. 16th also did not close. And then he said he wanted to go to litigation, which is a huge problem because this is a probate deal. So it's not just the house, it's the entire estate. And she has more than just the house. And they've been sitting on this house for a year. So they said, we don't want to do that. So because he dropped the litigation word, they said, okay, let's give him a cure period. Let me give him, and I think this was probably the end of February. So let me give him 2 weeks. If he doesn't perform in 2 weeks, it's game over. Because the other thing that they had asked for was a release to say that he has no claim to further pursue the estate after, no matter what happens. And he wouldn't give that. So he said, so that's what the plan that they came up with, was to do something like that. Now, in retrospect, I'm hearing some other things like cease and desist and blah, blah, blah. But the number one priority for me is to make sure that the seller's estate is out of ownership, because I need to have, they shouldn't be involved in this nonsense to begin with. So tomorrow is the ending of the 2 week. He's supposed to perform tomorrow. And then we have 2 options going forward. If he performs, then I will do what I need to do to raise holy hell. And then if he doesn't perform, then contract comes back to me and we do it right, like I should have done months ago, with my name on everything. So that's what we're going to find out tomorrow.
Oh my God. It's like
Yeah.
waiting on, like taking a time bomb.
Yeah.
Now,
So yeah.
Are you prepared on your side, like with the funding and things like that? Like, is that lined up? Like, if you have to step in, you're good to go?
Yes. So before the 1st of February, when he ghosted me, I was like, I can't show up empty-handed at closing, because regardless of what he does, I already set the expectations with the seller, and this is my deal. So I'm not just going to blame it on him, be like, I can't because of, no, I got to get ready. And I did. So I went out, got ready. I have a great lender. I even went down to Atlanta because my lender is through Alexis Morgan and Abraham Gray. And then I learned even more about safety and all this other stuff. So keep in mind, I am not doing this without a TC again, but I am lined up, like all the components wise, but I'm definitely going to, I need to figure out what's going to happen on Friday. And even then, I'm not even sure it's going to happen. So once we figure out on Friday, then I will either know that A, I buy it like I'm supposed to buy it, or B, I raise holy hell. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because that was going to be one of my questions. Would you ever do this ever again without a TC?
No. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is, I love that you have a post-close service that you offer, because even when I first started 3 years ago doing Subto, I have every good intention to do it right, but you don't know what you don't know. And when you're new, you're of course going to make a mistake. So the good thing about me is I always had a great relationship with all of my sellers, such that a year later, if I had to go back, like I didn't even do a POA one time for a condo Subto, and that was terrible. Not the end of the world, because I can just call her and be like, hey, Patty, I got to pay for insurance. I'm going to come and get a document signed by you. And it's the seller or the person who bought it going to get that done. But having good communication with your seller, having a great rapport with your seller, being able to go back a year later and fix things is great. Because like you said before, mistakes happen. We're going to make mistakes, and us as problem solvers, you just fix it and you move on to the next one. But this is a rotten decision is what's happening right now. So let the lawyers do what they got to do to unpack rotten decisions. But we on our side need to do good work with good people. And when we make mistakes, fix those mistakes. So I definitely want to also invite you to review Enfield, which was the group project that we did. That's available on my Instagram. So if you ever want to see it, I have everyone there. We had like 15 different contractors for each big ticket item. So I have like I think it's like 150 contractors out there, how much they quoted us for, which one we went with. But go to my Instagram and go to my link tree. It's all there that you can see it. And you will see Jennifer's work up there as well, because once she gives us the audit and fixes and make sure that we have all the right paperwork, I want to put that out there for everybody to see. This is what a whole deal, top to bottom, looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be amazing. And, not just that, Suzanne, like things are constantly changing. And this is what happens sometimes when like people try to do like their own paperwork. It might work this time, right? But then they try to use the same documents or the same process from 6 months ago, a year ago, and that no longer works.
Yes.
And that's what they forget. Like we are, we're part of top tier. We're top tier certified. We're constantly learning. We're joining Zooms. We're, all of these things. It's like this continuous education, which you as an investor, you're like, hey, my focus is to find more deals.
Yeah.
Right. I will hire a professional to just handle everything else. Right. Just like attorneys, they're going to stay up on the latest law, or are you going to spend your time checking, I wonder what the law is today, or, you're not going to really look into that, because you want to spend your time where it matters the most to you and what you're doing. And yes, post-closing is also, a very important component because people are always concerned about the now. Okay, I'm closing the deal now. I'm going to close it tomorrow. But then what happens? And I've seen, and Jay is part of this, we're part of this huge project of something that happened with another investor in the community. And his main goal was to lock up so many deals, but there was no management with them. So there was no HOA transferring, insurance was not set up. Like there were so many things wrong with it. And it's like, okay, guys, don't just focus on closing the deals. There's a management component like a month after that of all of these things that need to be done the correct way.
Right.
Don't skip out on that.
Yeah. Let me make it really easy for people. I lost $24,000 goddamn dollars with the seller that I did a novation with because I wrote a 3-letter word on an extension that I wrote. Because I was like, an extension is just, you can put anything in it. If you want to eat 10 Twizzlers today, I can put that in it. So I wrote seller will net, N-E-T. And that, at the closing table, they saw how much money we were making. She wanted us to pay off the remainder of her mortgage. Her mortgage wasn't that much. It was about $24,000. And then we were fighting still almost a year later about $24,000 because she won't refuse. And at the end of the day, I have it because I'm a professional in this business and she's an average everyday seller. The responsibility is on me to make sure that my work is tight. And because of that, I think even if we go to court, just defending myself is going to be even harder because I'm held to a higher standard. So $24,000, my attorney's like, it's a $24,000 terrible lesson, but 3-letter word, $24,000 later, no. Don't do your own SHIT. You are not an attorney. You are not a professional. You don't understand the mechanics behind it, the who, what, when, where, how. So many people try to memorize, okay, do this, do that, but they don't understand why. And if you understand why, then you know how you can change it. You can pull in the certain parties to change it because it's like that butterfly effect. If you change one thing, it's a nuance to something else. It's too much. You stay in your lane, do what you're great at, let the professionals handle it. Stop trying to, be everything. I did it. I lost $24,000 because of it. So 3-letter word, don't do it.
And let me just add too, transaction coordinators do not replace your attorney. We do not replace your attorney. We do not give legal advice, none of that. So please, do not think, oh, well, I'll just hire a transaction coordinator and I'll skip out on still getting an attorney. No, we work hand in hand. And I will say there also have been situations where people are like, I have an attorney, I won't get a TC, and things still end up done incorrectly. No Subto paperwork is done. Same thing with title company. No Subto paperwork is done. No POA is in place. The way that they wanted the deal to get closed didn't end up happening that way, or they ended up paying a lot more money at closing than they were supposed to because they didn't understand the type of deal. So again, we are all human. And while attorneys are educated, they have their degree, still get a transaction coordinator to be that person on your side, that kind of like that liaison to get the most out of what you expect, right? So we know the outcome. We've had these conversations with you. We understand your goal.
Yeah.
So I can't stress that enough. I always hear people are like, oh, the title company will take care of it. The attorneys will take care of it. This is what I tell them. They are there to close the deal, but they are not going to set you up for success after the deal closes. And this is where we see people coming back to us saying, hey, I closed this deal. I didn't use a TC, but I don't have any paperwork that I need to have access to the mortgage, the insurance, or the power of attorney. None of that.
Yeah. I'll make it easy this way. I didn't know this, and I learned this the hard way, that in a transaction, the attorney is there for the lender. They don't give two SHITs about the buyer or the seller. They're there to protect the lender because that's the money that's being held against the property as collateral. So when you have a lender, which most people do between hard money or traditional, because who really comes with cash at closing? Nobody even wants that stuff. But they're there for the lender. So as a buyer, you actually don't have an advocate on your side. They're there to protect the money, not so much you. So having a TC is like having a transaction on steroids. And the other thing that I'll also say is like a lot of the stuff that we do is not cookie cutter stuff. They're used to the traditional retail side of things where you have whatever you have, right? And then they're also familiar with the investors. The stuff that we do is so customized and so like out there that I actually like having a TC involved because it's the best of all the worlds together. And I think in all honesty, if you went out and you asked anybody who's been in this business like 3 years, who does this full time, and you were to ask them, what's the one mistake that you made in real estate? How much money did that cost you? How much would it have cost you had you not made that mistake? This is like TC in a way is like being self-insured from having those huge mistakes that blow up later. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Suzanne, thank you so much for sharing your story. What markets are you in, and how can people contact you if they have a deal or if they have, questions?
So right now I'm just a cash buyer in Eastern Massachusetts as well as Rhode Island. I have an amazing lender that I'm sharing on my Instagram. And to find me on Instagram, it's Suzanne, my first name, K for Korean. It's also my second name, or my middle name, sorry, is K-A-Y, but Suzanne, letter K, and then Sharkey. So find me on Instagram. I share a lot of my stuff there. You can always contact me there. Don't do anywhere else. It's all there. And then find me if you want to sell me a deal. I am a cash buyer. I'm a really good person to work with. I love what I do, and that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Suzanne. And we will be talking soon. And hopefully you come to us to do your next deal. And we will be working on that Enfield one. Let's take a look at it and
thank you.
See what could have been done differently.
Yeah. No, I know I'm in good hands with you. So thank you. Jay, nice to see you again. I didn't know you were the Jay that was with Jen, but I love that it's you. I met him at community camp and he was wonderful. So I'm excited that you two have partnered up and you bring the heat together.
Thank you. Nice seeing you again too. Are you going to Squad Up Summit?
To be determined. I have a very full April going on, but I will say this, for the people that are going to Squad Up Summit, it sounds amazing. It sounds like a high school reunion almost. Because I know a lot of us get excited to just go to like the quarterly meetups or a meetup because, in-person energy is just different than this. But 3,000 people is a lot of people. So come with intention as to what you want to get out of the event. Have some people that you want to meet and make the most out of your time. But Squad Up Summit sounds wonderful. Are you guys going?
Yep.
Yes.
I'll be there.
Good. Then you better take a finish line TC picture. Is all of your team going to?
Most of them, yeah.
Do you have your custom swag?
We actually have to make some.
Good. I know a person. It's Courtney. Courtney did all of our stuff in Subto New England. Yeah. The Cowspell shirts that we had at a community camp, she did those. So community camp had their own shirts, and then she did the one with the New England one where we had, what are we into? That Bigfoot thing? Yeah, the Bigfoot. Anyway, she does all of our gear. She did Creative Elite shirts for us, but her work is good. So Courtney J. Rowe. Yeah, super affordable too.
We'll hit her up.
Yeah, I'll introduce you. Anyway, thank you so much. Jennifer, I can't wait for you to take good care of me. And then everybody will be able to see your work spelled out on that Instagram. So go to my Instagram, go to the links, and you'll see Squad 100. Squad 100 was 100 Subto New England students working together doing a triple digit flip. And then Jennifer will be showcased there as well. So Jen, you're making it to our t-shirt. And Jay, if you help her, you will also make it to our t-shirt. So on the back of the shirt is 100 names. So if you want to earn your spot, Jay, you better look at our file, but find me all those mistakes. You better point it out to me, and then let me showcase your work. Yeah. And then I'm coming for that JV contract. My God.
We'll help you with that. We got you.
Thank you for taking good care of me. Thank you both.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, guys. Well, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. If you learned something new today, definitely comment and share this to one of your friends so that no one gets caught like Suzanne. Have a good one, everyone. Talk to you guys soon.